Imagine this. You're at a stoplight, and a brand new car pulls up beside you. Touchscreen dashboard, auto parking sensors, a ride so smooth it practically whispers. And then, pulling up on the other side, is a 1972 Ford Bronco. Loud, a little rough around the edges, no Bluetooth, no backup camera, probably no air conditioning that actually works, and yet, you can't stop staring at the Bronco. Something about it just pulls at you. Maybe you even feel a faint pang of want. Now, here's what's interesting. If you ask most people what they should want in a car, they'll describe technology, safety, efficiency, comfort. And yet, all over the world, there are people, maybe you're one of them, who would choose that old, impractical, temperamental machine over a modern marvel every single time. And they won't apologize for it. So the question isn't really about cars at all, is it? The real question is, what is happening in the minds of people who feel this pull toward the past? What does psychology actually say about it? Because trust me, there's a lot more going on under the hood, pun absolutely intended, than simple nostalgia or stubbornness. Let's talk about nostalgia first, because it's the obvious starting point, but most people massively underestimate how powerful it actually is. Nostalgia isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's a deeply wired psychological mechanism, and researchers at the University of Southampton have shown that it serves a very specific function. It makes us feel like our lives have meaning. When you look at an old car, maybe the same model your grandfather drove or the one you saw in a movie that made you feel something for the first time, your brain isn't just remembering a vehicle. It's reaching back for a version of the world that felt coherent, meaningful, and real to you. Old cars are like time machines built from steel and chrome. They don't just take you somewhere, they take you somewhen. But here's where it gets really interesting. The people who prefer old cars aren't necessarily living in the past. Many of them are highly creative, technically skilled, and deeply present in the physical world. What they're actually resisting is something psychologists call hyper-abstraction, the growing distance between humans and the things they use. Think about it. When something goes wrong with a modern car, most people have absolutely no idea what's happening. A warning light blinks and you're lost. You need a dealership, a computer diagnostic, a specialist. But with an old car, you can see what's wrong. You can reach in with your hands and fix it. And that difference, that tangibility, is enormously meaningful to a certain kind of mind.
There's a concept in psychology called self-efficacy, developed by the psychologist Albert Bandura, which refers to your belief in your own ability to control outcomes in your life. People who are drawn to old cars often score high in the need for self-efficacy. They want to understand their world, not just consume it. A vintage engine is a puzzle. A mechanical transmission is a conversation between you and the machine, and the ability to master that conversation, to say, I know how this works, I can fix this, I built this, is deeply satisfying at a neurological level. Your brain releases dopamine not just when you achieve something, but when you understand something. Old cars give that to you in a way a sealed, computerized modern vehicle simply cannot. Now, let's talk about identity, because this is where things get genuinely fascinating. Psychologists have long studied what's called object attachment, the way humans form emotional bonds with possessions. But not all possessions attract this kind of attachment equally. Research suggests we bond most deeply with objects that feel like extensions of ourselves, things we've invested time, effort, and narrative into. An old car, especially one you've restored or maintained over years, becomes woven into your personal story. It's not just transportation, it's autobiography. Every scratch has a story. Every mechanical quirk has a name. You don't just own it, you know it. This is fundamentally different from the relationship most people have with modern cars, which are designed to be seamless, invisible, interchangeable. Modern cars don't want to be noticed. They want to disappear into your life. And for a lot of people, that's perfect. But for others, people who crave depth, texture, and authenticity in their relationships with the world, that invisibility feels like a loss. And there's something else at play here, something a little more philosophical. We live in an era of relentless acceleration. Technology changes so fast that the phone you bought 2 years ago already feels obsolete. Social media rewards whatever is newest. Trends cycle in weeks, not decades. And for many people, this pace creates a kind of low-grade anxiety, a sense that nothing is stable, nothing lasts, nothing truly matters because it'll all be replaced anyway. Old cars push back against that anxiety. They are, almost defiantly, permanent. A well-made 1965 Mustang, properly maintained, will outlive the person who drives it. There's something psychologically grounding about owning something that was built to last, something that refuses to become obsolete because it never tried to be modern in the first place. Psychologists call this tendency reactance, the human impulse to push back against perceived loss of freedom or authenticity. When a culture moves too fast, some people slow down. When everything becomes digital and disposable, some people reach for the analog and the enduring. It's not Luddism, it's not ignorance, it's a deeply human need for groundedness. There's also a sensory dimension to this that we shouldn't overlook. Modern cars are, by design, sensory minimalists. They insulate you from the road, they quiet the engine, they smooth out every vibration. And for daily commuting, that's a genuine comfort. But the human nervous system is not built for total sensory insulation. We are wired to feel the world around us. The rumble of a V8 engine, the resistance of a manual gear shift, the smell of old leather and motor oil. These aren't just aesthetic preferences, they are sensory experiences that make people feel alive and present in a way that a quiet, automated ride simply doesn't replicate. In a world that increasingly mediates our experience through screens, there's something almost therapeutic about a machine that demands your full physical attention. Some researchers studying hedonic experience, the study of pleasure and what makes humans feel good, have found that people derive greater satisfaction from experiences that require effort and engagement than from those designed to be effortless. In other words, the challenge of driving an old car, of mastering its quirks, of keeping it running, isn't a flaw. It's actually the source of much of its reward. The difficulty is the point. And then there's community, because people who love old cars rarely love them alone. There are car clubs, restoration forums, weekend gatherings, lifelong friendships built around a shared obsession with carburetors and chrome. Psychologists studying social belonging have found that niche communities, groups organized around a specific, meaningful passion, provide extraordinarily strong feelings of connection and identity. When you're standing at a classic car show talking to someone about the exact year a manufacturer changed the engine configuration, you are not just talking about cars, you are belonging. You are part of a lineage, a conversation that stretches back decades. So, what does all of this tell us? It tells us that the person who chooses an old car over a new one is, in many ways, making a deeply considered psychological statement, even if they'd never put it in those terms. They're saying, I want to understand my world, not just use it. I want things that last. I want to feel something real. I want to know what I'm made of. I want to belong to a story bigger than today's trends. And here's the beautiful thing. None of that is irrational. In fact, in a world optimized for speed and convenience and disposability, there's something quietly radical about choosing depth over ease, durability over novelty, and meaning over efficiency. So the next time someone looks at your old car with a raised eyebrow and asks why you don't just get something newer, something easier, you can smile because you know something they might not. You are not behind the times. You're just driving on a different frequency, one that most people can't quite hear anymore. If this resonated with you, I'd genuinely love to know. Drop a comment below about your relationship with old cars, or even just with old things in general. What is it that draws you? Because I have a feeling your answer will be more interesting than you think. And if you want more dives like this one into the hidden psychology of everyday choices, make sure you're subscribed. There's a lot more where this came from.